All right, can anybody hear me okay? I don't know if I can keep this up for a half hour, but I'm going to try. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence, just a high-level overview. Has anybody in here studying artificial intelligence in any way? Machine learning? Yeah. Playing around with it? And cool. Awesome. And I'm also going to try to stay between two lights without hitting my head. A little bit about me, because this isn't a normal, these are a lot of new people that I haven't seen here, so you guys probably don't know who I am, but I'm a software developer for 20 years. Been doing a lot of web-based programming, and a few years ago I got really involved with chatbots, which are programs that simulate conversations with humans, and there's a lot of natural language processing involved, so that's kind of where I got into artificial intelligence. I'm by no means an expert, so if anybody has anything to add or tell me I'm wrong about, feel free. It's awesome. Okay, so fact. We're going to go with fact, fiction, and future. RoboCop is real. No. So first, let's define what artificial intelligence is. And artificial intelligence is like an umbrella term. And the Wikipedia is science and engineering of making intelligent machines. I think of it like this, which is just you have a lot of data, use a lot of math, and use a lot of computer science to implement those set algorithms. In statistics is usually involved. So that's really what artificial intelligence is. There's no magic. It's not craziness talk. It's just math and data and some programs to implement. And there's a long history to it. This is, does anybody know who this is?
It's not Alan Turing.
Alan Turing.
Okay,
It's Alan Turing. So one thing that he did was single-handedly, almost single-handedly ended World War II a few years earlier, saving hundreds of thousands of lives. But besides that, he also wrote a paper called Computer Machines and Intelligence, and he's the creator of the Turing test, which is a test that he performed to see if humans could if they were talking to humans or machines. And based on that work in 1955, this man, who is Alan Newell, created what is widely considered the first artificial intelligence program, and based a lot on Alan Turing's work. 1956, there was a conference, and the term artificial intelligence was coined. 1968, this important event happened, 2001: A Space Odyssey, where HAL was artificial intelligence. That's where a lot of the public got introduced to AI and the dangers of AI, I guess. Then in 1970, we're getting some cool stuff. So 1970, this British professor said that there's a lot of downsides to AI, not a lot of progress is being made. So between like 1970s and 1980s, a lot of the funding fell through. It's called the AI winter is what people refer to it as. So a lot of progress stopped in the 70s and 80s. But in the 90s, this thing happened, which IBM created Deep Blue, who beat the world champion chess player, Kasparov. Beat him, actually Kasparov won the first game and Deep Blue won the next two. Something that IBM also did in 2011, IBM Watson beat, you guys know who Ken Jennings is? He won like 90 straight games of Jeopardy. And then this is the all-time money winner of Jeopardy. But I got a video from that, so we're going to have a multimedia extravaganza here. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
I remember that morning going to the lab, and I was thinking, this is it. This is the last Jeopardy game.
This is Jeopardy, the IBM Challenge. Here we go.
Brad, if you're ready, make your first choice.
Let's take alternate meanings for 200, Alex.
4-letter word for a vantage point or a belief. Brad.
What is a view?
Yes.
After the first clue of the game, which Brad won, I had just this horrible feeling at that moment that he was as good as everyone said he was, and he was just going to run the whole board on us.
Watson.
What is shoe?
You are right.
We actually took the lead. We were ahead of them, but then we started getting some questions wrong.
Watson.
What is leg?
No, I'm sorry, I can't accept that.
What is 1920s?
No.
What is chic?
No, sorry. Brad.
What is class?
Class, you got it. Watson.
What is Sauron?
Sauron is right, and that puts you into a tie for the lead with Brad.
The Double Jeopardy round of the first game, I thought was phenomenal.
Watson went on a tear.
Watson.
Who is Franz Liszt?
You are right.
What is violin?
Good.
Who is the church lady?
Yes. Watson.
What is narcolepsy?
You are right, and with that, you move to $36,681.
The risk was, if Ken gets a daily double, bets big, gets it right, he's going to be well ahead. And then with that kind of lead going to Final Jeopardy, if he bets enough, he could end up winning the match.
Ken.
What's a committee?
We got to find that last daily double. We got to find that last daily double.
It was a crucial moment in the game. There was still a daily double on the board, and it was starting to become pretty clear that it was in the legal ease category. Let's go to legal ease for 1,200.
Watson.
What is executor?
Right.
Same category, 1,600.
Answer, daily double.
That was the moment when I knew it's over.
The category is 19th century novelists.
What Watson wants to do then is preserve the lead, not take a big risk, especially with Final Jeopardy, because just like for humans, Final Jeopardy is hard for Watson.
Now we come to Watson, who is Bram Stoker, and the wager. Hello, 17,970.
Okay. So there's a lot going on there. Watson wasn't just hooked up to the internet, like Googling stuff. What was happening was it was actually listening, parsing what people were saying using speech recognition, parsing those WAV files into actual text, running some machine learning. It was fed a bunch of articles. Jeopardy, the contestants get like a book of possible subjects that they study. Watson got the same thing, inputted all that information using machine learning, came up with the probability of the answers, then converted the text back to speech synthesis and said that. And that happened all in real time. So it wasn't just, a lot of people think it was just hooked up to the internet, Googling answers. That wasn't the case. So I talked a lot about branches of different branches of AI. I have another video that talks more about machine learning. Now, machine learning, all it is data with a generic algorithm that you use to find patterns in the data, find matches, and use statistics to and probability to find the correct answer. In computer science, a lot of people say that they're using machine learning when actually they're just using a specific algorithm that they programmed against the data set, whereas machine learning is actually just a generic algorithm. So here's another example.
His goal is to build safe artificial general intelligence. We know that AI can be extremely beneficial to humanity, and it's going to require fundamental advances to see what it's really capable of. Dodo is a great testbed for artificial intelligence. It's a very complicated game with a large competitive scene. And what this means is that you have to develop new techniques. You have to push forward the boundary of what's possible in order to get anywhere. For this project, we're building a Dodo player. We're starting with a bot capable of beating top professional players at Dota 1v1. The rules of Dota are so complicated that if you just think really hard about how the game works and try to write those rules down, you're not even going to be able to reach the performance of a reasonable player. So our bot is trained entirely through self-play. It starts out completely random with no knowledge of the world, and simply plays against a copy of itself, which means it always has an evenly matched opponent. And it climbs this ladder of skill level until it's able to reach the performance of the best professional players in the world. The International is Dota's World Championships. 20,000 fans come from around the world to watch professionals compete for a $24 million prize pool. Over the course of the International, we tested our bot against a number of professional players. It turns out that our AI has learned really robust skills in the game that is actually really competitive with these pros. Many of the pros wanted to keep playing the bot and started talking about using it as part of their training routine. First impression.
So what the bot was doing, like Greg explained in that video, was actually learning how to play the game better and better by feeding itself the same data that it learned playing the previous games. And that's how it learned more and more. Deep learning is kind of a subset of machine learning, where you're more concentrated on the data and the shape of the data rather than the algorithms it uses that are implemented in machine learning. I have a video for that, but it's dry and we're not going to do it. Optical character recognition is another branch. This is the jerk face technology that gives you these things in the mail. It can look through images and determine if that is what kind of character that is by looking at pixels. It's been around for a while, scanning PDFs, scanners, it's been built in. So people don't consider this a lot of AI, but this is part of the AI tech stack, I guess. Image recognition, this is really cool. Self-driving cars use this. Google has a project where they fed it a bunch of images on the internet, and learning from that data could determine a dog, a hat. This is a really hard problem because like a cat, this is the back of a cat, but that's different than the front of a cat. Or a cat, cats are weird, so they lay different positions and like jump, and they get scared easily and they're weird. So these are like hard problems to decipher. Speech recognition, everybody knows about speech recognition. Everybody has well, not everybody, but a lot of people talking to their phones or their little speaker systems.
Note from today.
Okay, I found this note. Your note from today says, Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment. That's all.
Here is the next event. Today, at 3 p.m., there's OK Google. What is in my calendar at 4 p.m.? Today, there's only one here. It starts at 4 p.m. and the title is Hey Siri, read my note from today.
So this person built an infinite loop of AIs talking to each other. But again, this is taking the waveform that gets uploaded using language, processing that into text, and then from that text, natural language understanding. So what does that text mean? It's the technology behind how Siri says that when you ask Siri, hey, what's the weather supposed to be like tomorrow? Or you say, hey, do I need an umbrella tomorrow? It understands that those are the same things that you're trying to accomplish, and that's done through natural language understanding. This is very cool. This is like my love affair is natural language understanding. I could talk for an hour about that, but people would fall asleep. All right, so what are some of the fiction stories? This is a big one. This is a big one that people think there's going to be robots that are coming into life and kill us, especially when you do this to robots. That's just going to make them angry. And then there's some pretty smart people that have some things to say about AI. Elon Musk says AI is vastly more risky than North Korea. Bill Gates doesn't understand why people are not concerned. Stephen Hawking says AI could be the worst event in the history of our civilization. So there's some really smart people that are concerned. The problem with all those quotes is they're taken out of context. They talk more about if we're not careful and don't go about this the right way, AI can be harmful for us. It's not going to come alive with robots and destroy us, but it could give us false results. It could give us false results on purpose. So I personally don't think events like that will happen where there's a Skynet and robots come and kill us. Because we are very, it's going to take a long time, and we're just figuring out what AI can do. Smart people are working on it. And so it's a cause and effect thing. Once we learn some more stuff, there's some good people around it that are teaching everybody else about it. That's one of the existence of OpenAI, which you saw that second video was from Greg Brockman. OpenAI is a foundation that they're trying to bring good AI into existence, and it's backed by Elon Musk and some other people. So it's nothing that we have to worry about, and I don't think just because there's good people working on it that, and this is going to be a slow process, that we don't have to really worry about that. Here's another little video. AI is going to take all of our jobs.
Robotics was founded in 2007 with the goal of bringing robotics and automation to on-site construction. We started construction robotics, and we decided to build a robotic brick lane system. There were two fundamental problems we had to solve. The first one is...
It is true, AI will take some of our jobs. But we've been through lots of renaissances, industrial renaissance, internet renaissance. I think AI is the next renaissance. And when I talk about some things in the future, I think education is going to need to go through another renaissance. We, just like the internet, we've been prepared for the internet. New jobs cropped up, old jobs went away. I think the same thing will happen with AI. All right, so some of the things that are available today that are pretty cool. Translations between languages. Google just released earpods that sit in your ear that will translate the language in real time as you're speaking. So you can visit non-English speaking worlds and be okay with those. That's pretty cool. Although I just worked on a project that does translations and in Mandarin and using Google Translate, and a native Mandarin speaker gave it a 4 out of 10. So we've got some work to do. It can recognize emotions and images of faces. There's an app that reads books to children that looks at the pictures and puts emotion into its speech. Everybody's got parking difficulties, I guess. There's an app to help you know when and where to park. Some of the cool things that AI is doing in the medical world, discovering new uses for drugs, existing drugs. There's spot cancer with more accuracy. Then there's a project where top 10 of the doctors looked at skin grafts or whatever, not doctor. And they predicted cancer about 50% of the time. Coin flip. They used AI and predicted 97% accuracy. So you can see where, AI, I don't think is going to take away jobs. It's going to kind of enhance and help us do our jobs better in the future. There's an app that predicts hypoglycemic events in diabetics like 3 hours before they actually happen. For agriculture, there's predicting crop yields every year, so you can plan for that. They sort crops. That takes away a lot of work, and actually after you get the crops, sorting through them for selling. Spot burglars in your home. I think that just listens for sounds after midnight. I'm just joking, but there's some image recognition and things like that, so it can know who strangers are. And this is some science fiction-y stuff, some Minority Report stuff. But the CIA they're developing some machine learning application that can predict by looking at social graphs and social media can predict riots and social unrest like up to 5 days beforehand. Fraud payments use insurance. Legal case research, there's a legal case where an AI machine replaced like 100 paralegals looking for looking through case files, and that was actually admissible in court. And for us developers, there's even AI that will write tests for the software that you write to make sure that your software is good. So one of the things with the job market I think that is going to see an immediate hit is the transportation industry. Transportation industry is like one of our most employed industries. And with the advent of electric and self-driving cars, I think that industry is going to be hit the hardest initially. Here's a little demo of what like an AI, a self-driving car would see. And this all happens in real time. Calm down. Education has to change, and I think it will change in the near future. The fact that we spend 20 grand a year to go to a 4-year college, and 18 we're supposed to pick out what we want to do for the rest of our lives, I think it's crazy talk, and I think that's going to change, and I think AI is going to help with that. There's already a lot of projects on way in the pipeline that people are working on to help people learn stuff, kind of like a personal professor. So I think education and teaching is going to happen faster, a faster rate, and more on your own time. And we need to prepare people for the jobs that are going to lost in retail and in service industries, hospitality and construction. We need to be the people that are building those things, that software developers are working with to educate how to build those things and what those things need to do. So we need to be a nation of producers rather than consumers. And I think that's going to be realized a lot faster than I think people realize. The other thing that's going to happen in about a year, speaking of social media and the last election and Russians, it was bad. It was a lot more involved than a lot of the public realizes or accepts. There was a lot of really good technology around AI and determining where and when to play certain fake news events. And if you think that was bad with fake articles, this is an example of something that may get even worse. Here's an example.
Most of us don't get our health care through the marketplace. It's our job, or Medicare or Medicare. And what you should know is
Touch bar works really well. So I think what we're going to see is we're going to start seeing fake videos on top of fake stories. And they're going to be really, really hard to disseminate what's true and what's false. I know Facebook is working on this problem, and I know Google is working on this problem. But our next major elections next year, they have about a year to work on it. So be prepared for that. And one thing is AI is going to be everywhere. Whatever job you do, whether it's predicting how much coffee inventory to to create or working on self-driving cars, AI is going to be in every situation. Superhuman AI, I talked about this already. I think this is far off. This is AI that computers are better at doing than us humans, and they're going to be able to do it faster. There are certain things that computers are really good at that humans are horrible at. Calculator, for example, looking at data in spreadsheets. And then there's certain stuff that humans are much better at that it takes a lot of work for computers to do. Common sense is one of them. I can look around this room very easily and determine what's going on here. It takes a lot for a computer to do that. So if you have any interest in this space at all, this is one thing, like as a software developer, that's really exciting. Being able to kind of be a part of this revolution, however small or however big. And if you want to make a lot of money, this is not a bad field to be in AI and computer science. So that is all I've got for you guys. If you have any questions or want to talk about this stuff, you can reach out on Twitter.